Hello and welcome, everybody. This is Chart Request Live. We do this every Tuesday and Thursday at 1 o'clock Eastern Time right here on Stock Market TV. You bring your tickers, bring your chart requests. Myself or Patrick will chart them out, analyze them, outline some levels, and then we'll just shoot the shit and talk about cryptos and the broader market and anything else that's going on that day. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. Patrick, how are you doing today?
Doing well, doing well. We're just looking at everything. Obviously, Nasdaq's leading by a decent amount today. What do you think?
So in
These
the green
semis, man.
before we came on, Pat said, "Why is the Nasdaq 100 up so much?" I said, "Pat, you know the drill by now. Is it is it ever anything but the semis these days?"
Hey, you know what? Like, there's a lot of talk now. Our semis getting extended. You know, they are growing in terms of concentration in the S&P and stuff like
Yes.
that, or not just the S&P, Nasdaq too. But I think it's important to kind of come back to the fact that, like, where is this all happening from? I mean, it could just be getting started, right? Like, I mean, yeah, of course, this is a big move already in a short period of time, so expect some sort of correction maybe, but the point is this is coming out of a 20-year base, this ratio, like in terms of semiconductors outperformance. So we've just really seen the show get going in the last not even a year, because this ratio broke out in May of last year, probably on the heels of that NVIDIA move. But
Pat,
wow, you know, it could definitely keep going. I mean, if we fib it out, have you done this yet?
this is such important context, what you're doing here, right? Because we look at these stocks, and of course, we have recency bias, and we think about what semiconductors have done just over the past few years, or really the past couple of cycles now, right? Been
Yeah.
big time leaders. When you go all the way back to the dot-com bubble, there's been no outperformance. These guys have performed in line, like no leadership over 24-year period, 23-year period, right? So when you get these big base breakouts, we talk about them on the show all the time, right? These 15, 20, 25-year mega base breakouts. What do we say? They could be messy, they could be slow to start, just like you saw here in 2020, 21, 22, right? But once they go, you tend to get just a massive reaction leg. And who knows how far this thing can go. Throw up XLK SPY now, just to kind of bring this full circle, because
Yeah.
it's the
And then
same
I
thing.
got one more to illustrate your point about big bases, like multi-decade bases, I guess. Wow, look at that, Steve.
So this one hasn't gone yet.
This hasn't even gone yet.
We're still getting back there. So,
And you still have people talking about tech is
well,
extended. Tech is
of course, because just look at the outsized, outperformance since all year last year, over a year now. It was so easy to come into this year and think, got to be some profit taking in tech, right? Got to be some rotation out of tech. These guys got to underperform. They can't have another year like last year, right? Where just the performance gap between tech, the best stocks and most stocks was pretty wild, 30, 40%. And then we came into this year, and what was it? The same exact playbook: tech, communications, big cap growth. And when you look at these charts, these ratios zoomed all the way out, the relative trends between tech subgroups, and the broader market, you make a really good argument that a brand new secular bull is just getting started.
yeah. And back to that point, because this is a really good exercise, and then I promise we'll get into it. But so you got this little like bearish divergence right here, right? We could have a scenario like look what SMH did. Uh, you see how, in 2022, you got huge rejection before you got the ultimate resolution and breakout and what's going on now. So maybe we see something similar with tech, right? Maybe we see the correction before, you know what I mean? The shakeout before the breakout.
Sure, I
Yeah.
think so.
Or was this the shakeout before the breakout? But either way, actually one more. We got to touch on this one. Somebody's probably going to ask us about it.
Ah,
But man, talk about big base resolutions. This one, the I put a chart of the day yesterday. The guy was joking. Uh, Abercrombie's going to have to start going back in time because it's going so parabolic that it's just going to loop around here. But what a trend.
you still shop there, right?
Oh yeah, stick it all in my clothes there.
Abercrombie and Fitch. Blast from the past. American Eagle. That's what
Yeah.
we're talking about this morning too. I think they had earnings or something.
So
How
should we
about
get
these,
into it?
how about
We
these
got
cryptos?
Broadcom earnings today. You see that?
You feel good about these cryptos? We
Uh,
typically like to celebrate Crypto Friday, but I have a new rule. When my cryptos are mooning during the day, I kind of try to get out of here early, just have a little like crypto afternoon. So we usually have Crypto Fridays. Today's a Crypto Thursday.
I do think it's funny. You saw that profit taking day the day after it broke out to all-time highs. And what that did to sentiment. I mean, you saw the bears come out of the woodwork, everyone say like, "Oh, see, I told you," it's that kind of thing. And then here we are. We're pretty much there again. Um, I don't think anyone should have been surprised that you got that profit taking when you did. And this thing's just resilient, man. Yeah.
I sold some Bitcoin. I told you.
Yeah,
I
you
don't
did.
feel I
You
don't feel
did.
great about it.
Well, no, I think again, from a risk management standpoint, makes sense taking profits there at the former highs, and then you get a pullback. Is you can always add.
Pat, so
Always.
what point of the cycle are we in? I wish I could move this camera and have the confidence that I can move it back into the right place. So what part of the cycle are we in if I just had my guys here drilling holes in all my walls and routing wires from my helium miners to antennas that are now on the side of my house and top of my house.
Listen, it's definitely a signal, man.
Is it early innings?
I don't know. Definitely curious to see what your power bill looks like this month now that you're mining again.
I told myself last cycle too, like never again with the helium miners. And it's just been sitting here collecting dust offline.
What is helium doing? What's the ticker again?
We got
H.
long this thing at 2 late last year. Already got a quadruple.
Oh, okay. Wow, back there already. Wow.
We bought that little base, 240. Yeah,
That's a nice base.
two and change. Yeah.
I
So yeah,
like it.
listen, it's a bull market, and not just for stocks. We're seeing breadth expansion in a really big way in the equity market, but maybe even more so now in the crypto market. So there's opportunities everywhere in risk assets. We are seeing investors move further and further out on the risk spectrum, which I think is very important, and it's a paramount behavior of any sustained bull market, right? We need this kind of risk seeking or risk appetite among investors. And what we're also seeing, and I think we see more of, is money moving down the cap scale, finally, which is really important. Let's hit the charts. TTEK 3-month time frame.
All right.
Tetra Tech.
Ooh, look at that.
Beautiful.
Just as we were talking about big bases. Oh, so this is a daily, so maybe not as big as I thought, but really nice primary uptrend there. Whoever requested this one, they know what we like, Steve.
Hanson.
Hanson. I was gonna draw a base, but I think you could make this into ascending triangle here.
Big triangle guy lately, you
Big
are.
triangle guy, big
Yeah.
ascending triangles,
Yeah.
ascending triangles. Because what's going on there, and I've talked about it before, but you have horizontal resistance, right? So sellers are kind of standing firm at their price, but buyers are willing to pay up on each rejection. So each time it gets rejected at resistance, buyers are willing to pay up more and more. That's kind of bullish behavior. And yeah, I like these patterns a lot. But
It's 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 like most consolidations in most ways, except for it has a slightly more bullish bias to it in the
right.
sense that you're getting equal highs and higher lows. There are other consolidations we can show you where you're getting lower highs and lower lows, right? So this one has like a bit of like an extra bullish feel to it.
Yeah, you're saying like a bull flag, right? Would be that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you're seeing buyers get more aggressive on each rejection. Yeah, good way to describe it. So above 190, I think is the move here, and you got to be long if it's above 190. Target of 238-ish.
Yeah, and what's the dividend on this one? That's great. And we've seen this chart pattern over and over and over again already this cycle in this group, right? Pat, industrials,
Yep.
all the different industry indexes within industrials look like this or better, right? They've already broken out. So like we know we have this roadmap. We've seen this pattern a million times before over the past couple of quarters. So I don't know why train Tetra Tech would look any different. Also, not only is it a pro-cyclical, right, engineering construction, which is great, like a kind of a pond that we want to fish in, but also mid-cap. Love that.
Yeah. So Steve, to answer your question, the dividend's only 0.5%. What do you make of
That's
that?
fine. Sweet spot. Love it. Like
Good.
it even more.
Um,
Gerber, which one of these is the strongest going forward? ETH or Bitcoin? Ooh,
ooh,
Pat.
let's look
Ooh,
at
that's a good one. Good one, Gerber. Make him work for it. I don't know, Pat.
it.
I don't think Pat owns enough of either of these.
So I have a decent amount of Ethereum, and I'm a little disappointed with. I really thought it would outperform more now that you're seeing these, and it's Bitcoin's really been the place to be. Um,
It hasn't been easy to outperform Bitcoin,
you're
right?
right, right.
It's a,
It's like the Nasdaq, right?
it's a tough comp.
Yeah. So this one, as you can see, Ethereum underperforming this past year or so, but really more than that. But holding this at least, I think you want to see this kind of get going more. But
Hey, it's Basey. It's
it is
Basey.
basy, yeah, and it's this is a kind of important level here that it's kind of battling with. So we
Totally.
kind of got to see how this resolves. I like that momentum's kind of improving here, not getting oversold. That's an encouraging sign in favor of Ethereum. Um, and you could probably draw like a trend line here that you'd want to see break to
Yep.
confirm.
Already took a shot at it, rejected hard. Listen, I think it's coming for Ethereum, but you got to see it,
Well, and
right?
it would make sense, right? And that's why I'm overweight it is
Totally.
because that thinking of like, okay, like you were saying, down the risk spectrum, you should see Ethereum catch a bid, especially with all these other crazy dog with hat coin and Shiba coin, whatever, popping off. You'd
I think we're
expect that
yeah.
one to go.
I
But
think we're getting closer too, right? Because if we were talking about this quarter, 2 quarters ago, right? Last fall, we'd be saying Ethereum's barely even participating on an absolute basis. But now Ethereum's been rocking. It's just been
yeah,
tough to outperform Bitcoin. Look at the absolute. I mean, I'm
yeah.
sorry, the relative trend looks the way it does. It's not Ethereum's fault.
Right. And we're kind of, we've passed the final resistance level, as I like to call it, that last resistance level before all-time highs,
Yeah,
before you get to the final boss here. So
final
pretty much
boss.
at this point, you got to be erring on the side that this thing returns to all-time highs, which is still significantly higher. That's, is that
The second part of his question was, what would be a good entry for Bitcoin? Show the chart, but it's the all-time highs, right? That's it. We're back there, and that's where you want to define your risk, redefine your risk, however you want to play this. This is the first sale I've made in crypto this cycle, and it's because Bitcoin is the first one back to such a key resistance zone. I'm just feeding the ducks at a place where I kind of feel like I have to.
yeah,
Uh,
and I'm sorry, what was the question again?
what's the level? What's the
What's the
entry?
level for Bitcoin
Yeah. Let
in
it
terms of
cool.
targets?
Yeah, let it cool a bit, digest here, right? And then that's your zone. You couldn't ask for a better level.
Totally, yeah, yeah. I mean, I think it's the breakout's on if it's above 60K. And yeah, you're gonna get these little whipsaws in and out. Like you always say, we draw it with a
Would you
crayon, not a fine tip pen or something like that.
would you buy
But
weakness back towards 60, Pat?
yeah, I think so. Yeah, you could if you're not in it,
Yeah.
especially like you, right? Like you took profits,
Yeah,
right? As
I
a
would.
way of risk management. You weren't bearish.
Yep.
And that would be that would be a decent place to add. But for targets, I think, fibs have worked great in last cycles, so I think you got to stay with them. I just drew one on a closing basis and you get pretty much 99,000, so call it 100. Then you do it on a high to low
Pull the
basis.
chart down so we could see it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I'm getting there. 102, if you're using high to low. I know that's a little hard to see, but
Geez, you're giving me a headache.
I know, I know. I got to
So
get rid of this watermark. That it bugs me. I know
bottom line,
it's easier.
we're going higher. That 100K is going to be a key psychological level.
Exactly that too, right? what that does for market psychology is important too.
Jeff, Brookfield Corporation, please. BN. I like the asset managers. I've been long Carlisle. It's been working. I like the idea of having exposure to this area of financials, seeing participation broaden in financials. If only I bought more of these guys and less of the regional banks.
No, you know what? I'm seeing a lot of financials too, looking good, shaping up.
I closed my Wells Fargo's out today. The key corps continue to not really work.
Uh, so this one, I think it's going to need some more basing. It's definitely behaving really well, but I think you'll probably see it kind of make another leg down and then a higher high is what you want to be looking for here. So kind of like a maybe retest this little shelf of resistance here or these former highs, and then just kind of, it's going to be kind of a zigzag process back to these former highs. But I think it ultimately gets to that 50 level, those former highs there.
Yeah.
Um, because I mean, Steve, this is the same pattern we've seen a million times, right? You get the trend line break. That's how something's moving from downtrend to uptrend. Um, but I think, you had a really nice move here. You might get some initial rejection. You're looking for it to hold the former highs here around 36, and then go on and continue making new highs, build up the right side of that base.
I think, where you pick your spots and set your risk, people are going to have different opinions, but the trend has shifted, right? Would you say the reversal is in?
Exactly. Yeah. Yep. Totally.
Wavy. Oh, wavy.
And that's such an important point too. Like the tide has shifted basically, yeah.
That's the bigger point than where do we buy this is would you even buy this?
Right.
Least resistance is higher. Wavy, long, long, long. So he's triple levered long.
What does Wavy got? Let's see.
HBM. Dude, every time.
Where is he finding these things? It's like
bring me
he
a
creates
ticker.
these stocks out of nowhere. Like
Every time I have never heard of the tickers that this man brings.
it's actually every time though.
Breakouts taking place and a lot more to come.
And by the way, Wavy, we love you for that. We
love it.
that's awesome.
Listen, it's a bull market. It's a bull market. People are confident. You notice that? People are making money. People feel good.
Oh, right? I'm seeing the screenshots. I've seen the screenshots. And I'm also getting the texts from people who haven't texted me since the last cycle. You know what I mean? Feeling awfully vindicated.
The quote that keeps coming to my mind and always listen, we're all having a really nice start to the year. And I go on walks every day and I tell myself, don't confuse brains for a bull market.
There you go. Very well said. But it's really easy to do. I mean, it's seductive, right?
Yeah. All right. So
this one, right?
Level.
Yeah. I think you could even call it $6. Play it down to 6, or 6 would be your entry. Wouldn't be long below like 550. That's even pushing it. I would keep a really short stop on this one. And then first targets, you could use 850 if you want to be a little more conservative. 950 if you want to be more aggressive. And then you can zoom out even more. Man, what is this thing?
Copper.
Copper. Interesting.
2.2 billion. Nice and small. Again, this is what we're talking about, right? So right on theme also. Down the cap scale, a little further out on the risk spectrum. Super, super pro-cyclical stuff, right? It's copper miner.
Yeah.
Economy stocks have been working, but not all of them, right? I immediately think of like industrial metals and mining and banks, particularly like the regional banks, as some really, really super pro-cyclical stuff that you would expect to catch some rotational tailwinds.
Yeah, and I think copper's looking really interesting. It's been so boring. There's been nothing to say about it really. And I feel like I've drawn this coil like 6 different times, 6 different ways. And that's the trouble with coils, right? Like you can get it what looks like a resolution and then it just kind of shifts and forms another one.
Big coil guy.
But yeah, big coil guy. I think this is what's going on here. So if it does break that 4 level, and 4 has been the level for copper for so long, um, then I think you probably get a move to 5. And what was that ticker we just looked at?
HBM.
HBM. And that would be obviously very bullish for this one.
And you're getting
You
some
can
nice
see
moves.
kind of a similar shape, right? Like just kind of,
Yeah, it does. Looks like
yeah.
copper. You're getting some nice moves today from some of these copper stocks. This
Like,
Ivanhoe Electric is like a battleground one.
is that a copper stock?
Yeah, just throw it up quick. But like this is the kind
What
of
is it?
market that we're in right now.
What
Like,
is
look
it?
at this thing coming off the lows. Holy shit.
What
You
is
could
it?
write
Ivan?
this. IE, sorry.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So like this is
We-
where we're at, right? This is the environment we're in.
Wow.
Up like 10% today, billion
What are
dollars.
some of the other big copper miners?
Freeport and Southern
Freeport, right?
Copper. Yeah.
You ever look at Copex?
Nope.
Yeah, it looks like a headache right here. But
Oh,
you got a clear
yeah.
level here, right here,
Oh,
30.
yeah. CopEx. I didn't know what you were talking about. All right,
Yeah.
next. We're moving slow here.
Yeah, we are.
Where am I in the chat? Where did Spencer send the stuff? Hold on. Got it. Thank you, Gene. Joe Briggs. This one stood out the other day. I think we included it in one of our scans. Jackson Financial, JXN. Yeah, this
Oh, yeah, yeah.
talked on the hot corner yesterday.
My dad's business does a lot with Jackson Financial,
Oh,
but
really? Is
yeah,
this like a custody company? What do they do?
I think they're a broker dealer, I want to say.
They are. Okay.
Oh, no, insurance. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
I think they might be. I think they might.
Life insurance, probably, or annuities, maybe.
Okay.
Uh,
Anyway,
but looks great. I mean, fitting with that theme of financials here, you got a clear level right here. It's 50. You know, we talk about psychological levels meaning a lot. They couldn't do it in 2022, couldn't do it in 2023. You're finally getting it now.
I love this kind of situation though, Pat. The
Too.
the coil right on top of the old highs, right? So like you take out this key breakout level and then you just high and tight right there. Like I look at this and I'm thinking of like the AMD chart.
You know what I'm thinking of? I'm thinking of a lot of other financials right now. I mean, like look at BNY Mellon, right?
You're right. You're so right.
Very similar action where you're having this like consolidation, and we could look through a ton of financials right now,
Look at
and you're
Goldman.
seeing,
Look at
yep,
Goldman.
yeah, I'll pull that one up too. But what you're describing, where you're seeing the consolidation happen above a key level, that's really important there, and that's building energy for the next leg that we haven't seen yet in a lot of these. So
These
Goldman
things,
Sachs, very similar action going on here.
these things look so good. I expected them to start working better sooner, but these kinds of charts that we're just flipping through, these guys are so set up to take the rotational, reins for a while and lead
Yeah.
and let some other groups that have been leading cool off. Like that's what these charts speak to, I really think.
Well, and not even some other areas, some other stocks, right? Like Apple, right?
Yes.
Falling from the
Totally.
tree right now.
Google.
But S&P could not care less. I mean, it's chugging along. S&P is still up 7%, even though Apple's falling like a rock. And I think a lot of people get caught up in that, like, oh, they'll fixate on one stock and they'll forget that those weightings they're not static. They're constantly moving. So
I'm with you on the Apple action.
yeah,
Next is let's move over to tech. Datadog, DDOG.
cool. Datadog. You're familiar with these software names a lot better than I am. So you can
I'm long the dog. I'm this close though. I'm this close. I got a short leash. If something's not working, I'm not wasting my time. Not in this market.
Yeah, we talked about those consolidations above resistance like that, and that's kind of going on here. But what I don't like is this. I don't like that momentum is just nosediving like that.
In a tape where this should be working.
Right, right. Are they cybersecurity or cloud?
Cloud.
Okay. So yeah, I agree with you. I mean, it looks good now, but it really, in terms of like, it's the breakout's intact, but if it doesn't hold that 110 level, it's back in the penalty box and just further mess. And this is what you're dealing with. You're dealing with just a sideways messy trend. So
And
that's a tough one here. And I think there's just with all everything out there in semis and stuff like that, um, probably not the best candidate here.
the worst thing about buying these bases or these, rounding bottom reversals that look like they are just completing is they could be slow to start, they could be messy, and you could deal with some opportunity cost and really need to be patient. And in a market where so many other things are working so well, it can be tough to be patient. And that doesn't mean to just, cut it right away, because you do get rotation where one works, then the other one works, right? And you don't want to like chase and get out of something right before it works. But at the same time, you do want to keep it tight, right? And if it's not working for long enough, and God forbid for this one, if it falls back into the box, got to be out. There's too much other stuff that's working and looks good.
Yeah.
We are done with the chat. Through the chat.
We're through the chat. Oh,
No,
you
we're
mean the mailbag.
through the email,
Through the mailbag.
through the
Okay.
chat. Sam, you're funny. Curtis Taylor, Micron.
Oh, Micron. All right. So I'm a little biased to this one. So back in my hometown of Syracuse, they just announced a giant plant there. So and
Okay.
the whole town's stoked about it too, because it's huge. I mean, it brings so many jobs to the area to and a place like Syracuse, it's post-industrial town, all the factories and stuff like that are not there anymore. So it's nice to see that. But this one, man, I can't think of a better long-term play right now. Um, we've talked about these big bases, and look at this thing. And you've
100.
already got
Look
the
at the
shakeout.
level.
You've already got the handle, right?
Yeah. This one looks so ready, Pat.
So ready. I really like this one more than AMD even, right? Because AMD's base is much smaller. It's still great. I like AMD a lot, but here we're pretty much reaching the target here.
Well, no,
MU
it's that
party's just
AMD
starting.
broke out of its .com bubble base a long time ago.
That's true. Yeah, we can look at that. Sorry. What he's talking about here is this. And and you can see how it went after.
Boom.
And we could look at, we looked at the SMH already. Now we're looking at AMD, what it does after it breaks those .com bubbles.
5x.
What do you think? What do you think is going to happen here, right? Like,
Yeah. So Micron here at 100 was AMD years ago around 40.
yes, yep,
Yeah, I love this.
yeah. This one's great. So I mean, hey, and key psychological level here too. Breaking pretty. I mean, it hasn't broken it yet, but here we are at 99.
And
Once you get people transacting in three figures like that, I think that's really important for a stock. I know it sounds kind of maybe not that scientific, but there's definitely something to it. You ever amazed at when you watch like some of these older traders trade and they'll enter orders in just like the most ridiculous ways. It'll just be like 1,000 lot or like, just whole numbers, things like that. And that's why these things work the way they do.
I love these patterns. And if you zoom in on this, right, and just look back over the past several years, there's a beautiful, really, really clean base there also that you're showing here with the second blue arc.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. So you have two different time frame breakouts going on.
Yep.
Sorry, my chart's a little messy here. But if you're a little shorter term, you don't want to be in this thing for years and wait for the strength to kind of pick up more.
So I just put in the chat, the research channel chat, I said, Micron leaps, Sean. This is the kind of chart pattern, 20-year, 25-year structural.
I'm actually very curious to see what he says to that.
You want to go out like 2 years. I'm talking like long leaps. January 26.
And forget about him, right? It's just
150 strike. You go crazy. 200 strike.
go nuts.
This is a leap. This is a leap formation. Love it. All right. Next, let's work our way through here. Marvel, semiconductor theme. I love it. We could talk about, you know what? We could do a show and call it chips only and just do semi.
Semis with Straza.
Chips only.
Can't have a party without the chips.
We'll bring the party. You guys bring the chips, and we'll just chart party.
Well, they're bringing the chips for sure. This one, I mean, this is like a candy shop here. You know, it's just with the semis, just setup after setup after setup.
You mark this up. I'm going to address that in the chat. Feed the ducks. People talking about selling. Look, we come on here. We are probably sounding exuberantly bullish right now, Patrick and myself. There are so many good-looking long setups. We want to take them all. We can't. It's important. It is so important, you know, because on this show we're talking about buying, right? Where are we buying this? It's so important to sell, right?
Yeah,
If you
absolutely.
made a good trade, you're in something. My IT guy was just here. He took Bitcoin from 20 to 60, sold it the other day. He's feeling bad about it. I said, man, you made 3x. 3x. What are you worrying about? Great trade. Like, feed the ducks, right?
Yep.
What we don't come on this show and do is tell everybody, oh, you make sure that you're taking profits, right?
100%. Yep.
If you want to stay in this game, it's not just about getting into the right trades. It's about getting out of them too, and knowing when maybe you're staying too long and all that jazz, right? So,
Yeah, and I don't know if you want to talk about, risk and reward, and I'm sure a lot of our viewers already know this, but for me at least, I always want to make sure I have at least 3-to-1 risk reward. I know JC's like, I want 10-to-1 or something like that. But for 3-to-1, you don't have to be right half the time.
that's right.
You can be wrong a majority of the time and still make money.
Yeah.
Psychologically, that's hard though, right? Being wrong over and over again. A lot of people can't handle that where you're constantly being told you're wrong, but you're still profitable.
You should see people's heads when I tell them that my win rate is like 25% in my options account.
Yeah.
Because you think, well, what a terrible trader.
But you get that one that's a 10 bagger, pays for a bunch of others. So this one, sorry, 90 is your level. If it's above there, it's getting close. 84 now. So, but structurally, I mean, look at this thing, right? You get the base on top of the 2006 highs here. You don't hear 2006 highs very often, but I guess this one peaked before everything else did. Held it perfectly. Then for a target here, let me get you a target. Did he mention anything on time frame or?
No. This is a good one though.
131.
All
So
right, good.
it's above 90, 131.
I love the semi theme. I'm kind of looking. Let's keep it tech. Dell.
Dell. Dude, you got a Dell.
So this is an AI stock now. Is that crazy?
Is it?
Things work.
Is it an AI?
Dell. This was a single-digit price to earnings multiple. Computer hardware. Oh, these guys are so boring. They sell laptops that Michael Dell had to take them private because the market was valuing this thing as like a zero.
Is that what happened with this one? Because I know it went away and then it came back.
The market was just treating this thing like it was a going concern, and he took it private. And now look at them back from the dead, and now they're doing stuff like helping build out servers and things for the AI craze. So, good companies, they take their past successes and they invest that money and use it to reinvent themselves, right? Or do something new and different, or get onto whatever the next big trend is. And it seems like Dell has maneuvered in a very nice way to kind of get into this whole AI theme.
Yeah, so this level here, you got two different fibs at this level, this 107 level. Market didn't care about this at all. It just ripped right through it. So this thing is very, very strong. And I think if it's above this, as long as it holds this, or even more importantly, you don't want to see it break this post-earnings gap low and start to fill that gap. That'd be a sign of weakness here. But I think you're looking at 154 as your next level, maybe even a little higher. So,
and this is like some people call this like a power earnings gap, right? and a lot of other people will look at this and be like, this is extended. I can't buy this here. If you get a couple weeks of just high and tight, a little choppy, you just anchor a VWAP from the earnings gap, right? From the
Okay.
earnings candle, and then you could use that as an entry level or a trigger to play just the next up leg.
Right. I mean, this might not be the best example. Maybe we'd want to drop it down into like a 1 hour chart or something like that. But
And that's a good point because you want more time, you want more price members. So I'm saying like give it a couple weeks. And if you're still chopping around, drop that VWAP, and
that's a great point. Yeah. And this might be maybe a bad example just because there's not much history here since that gap up. But like he was saying, it is tough to get into these after you get a move like that. How do you get the signal? What's your signal to get in? What's your entry?
and
That's a really good way to do it. Draw the VWAP from the gap. You see that breakout,
yeah.
it's on again.
And from like a supply and demand standpoint, so what does it mean? Why would we drop the VWAP? It tells you that, of course, we know buyers were in control coming into that candle, right? That earnings gap. But what the VWAP reclaim tells you, if you anchor it from the earnings day candle, it tells you that the average buyer since that day, since that huge move, so everybody who bought it after that big move, the average buyer is now back in a profit position. Buyers are in short-term control of the trend still. You know that the long-term trend is higher, and that's really all you need to know for a trade.
Yeah, and I know this is super off topic, but what you said just really reminded me of that because you asked me about Bitcoin earlier. I think one of the most bullish things about it right now is the fact that everyone who bought this thing, all the bag holders who sat through a 75% drawdown, they're now whole.
Yeah.
They're not in the
Right.
loss. If they didn't sell then, you think they're going to sell now?
Great
Like,
point.
oh
Great
my
point.
gosh.
Yes, these are the reason we look at these polarity zones is because there's market psychology behind them. We call it price memory for a reason. It's not that the market remembers, it's that you, me, and other market participants remember these levels. All right, we're gonna do one more, and then we have some nice comments in the chat.
I feel like Michael Saylor over here, just Bitcoin, Bitcoin.
Yeah, yeah, seriously. They just issued, I think, like 600 million in senior convertibles, and I don't know what kind of interest rate they're paying. I don't know, 7%.
Have
And
you
they're
been playing this one at all? I mean, this looks like the Batman pattern right here.
we've been long this one in the hot corner since it scooped and scored off the failed breakdown in January.
Get out of here.
We've had 4 trades on this
Get out of here.
last year. The same as Coinbase, right? So we treated this just like Coinbase. It was a similar pattern. Coin shook a little harder when it was in the 40s and exploded up. And we said, why wouldn't we be buying MicroStrategy too?
And this is one where I have to check and see if it's a log scale or not, right? Because this just looks
Yeah,
Looney
crazy,
Tunes, but
crazy.
it is.
So this has actually been the best crypto vehicle.
And you've been saying
This
that
is
for a
it.
while. You keep saying the best crypto ETF out there. We already have it. It's MSTR.
This is it. I mean, the returns off the January lows, as good as Coinbase has been, MicroStrategy has been better. Crazy. What, like 150 to 1,000? Nice. Good for you, Michael Saylor. All right, one more. CLSK. And here's Joe. Love you guys, by the way. You guys have that magic together. Oh, Patrick.
It's because we've hung out too much.
We've spent way too much time together over the years.
Yeah.
We got that magic. That's cool, man.
No, it's great. So
Wavy, I guess Wavy likes you more than me. We need to get that chart report exclusive interviews on Saturdays again, Pat. I miss those.
oh yeah, no, they'll be coming back soon. We've
They're
just been
coming.
busy with so many other things, but they're
Pat's,
coming back.
Pat's been playing too much golf.
No,
Coronado
not at
Island.
all. Not at all. Although we do have to go to Torrey Pines when you're here. I don't love this little head and shoulders that's forming here.
Yeah, but this one's starting to move here today. This is a
It
crypto mine.
is, yeah, and you know what? The best case scenario would be you see it invalidate that pattern, right? So like you get it breaks the neckline and then it reclaims it and just rips higher, right? But like you said, it's already moving today. Maybe this isn't a head and shoulders, maybe it just completely changes. And that's the thing, right? Patterns change all the time. They morph. And it can look stupid when you're like calling something one thing and then the next second you're all of a sudden, oh, all of a sudden you're bullish. But
Yeah, this one's up like 1,000%.
is it really?
Yeah. I mean, these Bitcoin miners, wow.
Yeah.
Are
So
you
you
sure
have
you buy
this.
this even with the halvening?
Uh, I don't even want to get into that whole debate
Good. Me either. Me either. I shouldn't have said it.
because it comes down to is the halving priced in or not, and it's just anyway. Um, so I would get concerned if it broke this, but then if it does reclaim it, that's super, super bullish. You got to be long. Um, I got the levels already marked up here. You got 23 here. And then, sorry, let me zoom out.
We put some, what do we do? A call calendar spread? Bull
Are you
call spread?
surprised that this one isn't already at all-time highs or kind of, what do you
No,
think of that, right? You have Bitcoin already
no.
above the 2021 highs.
Coinbase isn't either.
Yeah.
It'll get there. I think it'll get there. I think I might prefer to even own the common in some of these Bitcoin miners at this point because I'm confident that we'll get to those old highs. But what the path looks like to there, I think it could be pretty messy. I think the easy trades have been made in things like Mara and Coinbase and MicroStrategy. I really do. I hate that phrase, the easy money, but as a trader, you do feel like something is a lot more appealing or easier to, put some capital behind than other ideas, right? And right now, when I look at Coinbase, I look at MicroStrategy, it's not that I don't like them. It's just that I liked them a whole lot more Q4 of last year, Q1, Q2 of last year, right? Um, and also, like we were talking on our analyst call the other day, we just put another trade on Mara. This is like the third or fourth one. The first three worked great. And JC was like, how many times can we keep going back to the well until we get burned? And it's starting to feel like that.
Yeah, I mean, this does look heavy here, right? This
Yeah.
consolidation's a little sloppy above the base like that. And you got this nasty divergence here, and this is
Ugly
daily, right?
momentum.
So yeah.
Ugly momentum divergence. All right. Pat, I think that's it. You want to do one more?
Sure, if we got one more.
Let's do Mark Zerby, Shopify. Andrew Sender, Straza, we know you like banks. How about that would be BlackRock.
You okay?
Yeah, I like BlackRock. BLK, there's a nice base there. I think it just got like a nice reaction candle higher a few days ago. Yeah, BlackRock looks good. Shopify looks good too. Look at this thing. Ooh-wee.
Yeah, I mean, as long as it's holding this, I think you're good. Above 60-ish. Um, it's been kind of slow to recover. It's not like a Facebook that's just V'd it back to the old highs like that. But man, this one was such a secular leader for so long, and then just hasn't had that same oomph. You got any thoughts on it?
Super long, been long since 2022. Uh, I put my fundamental hat on for this one. This is a IRA position.
Okay. But I think in the short term, yeah, you want to see it reclaim that 82 level, and then you're looking at 118, and then back to the old highs if you get that.
Point is, primary trend is either reversed or in the process of reversing. This is probably the right pond to be looking in internet retail. In fact, we're seeing a lot of these like emerging market internet retailers like Jumaya, C Limited, JMIA, SE, Coupang, CPNG start to wake up a little bit. It's that the Amazon of wherever trade. Remember this?
Yeah,
Back
yeah, yeah.
2017, 18, 19, even 2021. It was like every other IPO was the Amazon of Asia, the Amazon of Africa. This is the Amazon of Latin America,
Or the
right? We
Uber,
have an index,
the Uber of this.
right? Or the Uber of, yeah, yeah. Mercado Libre, right? So yeah, look at this. So interesting
Quite a
stuff.
move.
Yeah.
All right, let's
All right.
do our two favorites, and then we'll wrap up. What do you
All
got?
right. Go. You go first. I got to
Okay.
think about it.
Mine I actually stole from you. So Intercontinental Exchange, really, really like this setup here. They actually own the New York Stock Exchange. Did we
Looks
look at
good.
this last week? I can't remember, or earlier this week. Can't remember if we brought it up in Spaces or what. But really like this setup, really strong long-term uptrend, really nice base here these last 3 years. You're resolving higher now. It's above that 140 level. You got 171 as your target.
Yeah. Again, this is the right area. Seeing this breadth expansion in financials. This is the capital markets name. Parent company of the New York Stock Exchange, I believe. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, and you were saying that it's kind of like Anheuser-Busch, where
It's mean
yeah,
though, but
but
right?
it's like, the company that owns the most American thing on earth
Yeah.
is not
All right.
American.
I'll give you mine.
Yeah.
We're gonna go to cryptos.
All right. Nothing wrong with that, Steve. Nothing wrong with
Uh,
it.
I almost want to do two. Injective, INJUSD. This one led for a long time. It's taken a breather, at least on a relative basis versus Bitcoin. But this is one of these hot new ICOs. It's not tiny. It's a couple billion, I believe. You could pull out the panel and check. But look at this, right? I mean, these are the continuation patterns, nice and tight.
4 billion.
Barely gave any back that we want to be getting involved in. And I think this one's highly actionable here at these pivot highs. That's
Yeah,
it.
I don't know what it is, but some of these crypto charts are so clean in terms of like their technicals that it's really impressive. I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's like
It's
just because it's supply and demand and psychology driving these things and there's
so
no fundamentals, but
I can't prove this, but this is something I think we've all thought about and discussed for a while now. I have a theory. It's the lack of institutions. The institutions are here to shake things around, create some bear traps, bull traps, shake us out, right? If you
yeah,
go to one of these really early, you know, markets that's really underdeveloped, doesn't have really much institutional action going on in there, they tend to be a lot cleaner. You don't have these major players trying to shake you around all day, every day.
that's interesting. And man, some like this is a $4 billion market cap. That's not
Mid
bad.
cap, right?
That's a mid cap, right?
All right, this has been fun. Thank you, everybody, as always, for joining us. Everybody have a great weekend. Catch us back here on the next Chart Request Live Tuesday, 1 o'clock Eastern Time, right here on Stock Market TV. In the meantime, be sure to join us on the morning show every morning, 8:30 to 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Have a great weekend, everybody. Bye, Pat.
Cheers. Thank you guys.